Just fucking do it. Subscribe now.
I have a question. Grab the mic.
Yes, man.
I asked you a series of questions that I know you have the answer to, but you play like you don't know the answer to. What would you recommend us to do to practice doing what you do?
Change everybody that you're associated with.
Okay.
And build the 5 people are you going to spend the most time with, starting with your board. And I understand that's easier said than done. But it's the only way to, it's the only way to do it. Poorness rubs off, excuse me. I can't remember, I can't believe I forgot Van Damme's name when Sally and I met him in Hong Kong a number of years ago. I don't know what, anyway. I was going to show the slide pictures of standing next to Schwarzenegger and all these guys that are dwarfs. I mean, it's unbelievable. When you look up these guys in the Google and they say they're 188 centimeters tall. That's 6'2". I'm 185 centimeters tall. And I'm at least 6 to 8 inches taller than all of them. They may have, they have muscles and 6-packs and stuff, shit like that. But they're, they still have Napoleon complexes. And even a lot of the Green Beret Special Forces SEAL guys that I've met aren't that tall. Not the least of which is Jocko. I won't say he's a dwarf, but he's not too tall. These guys, I don't know where it started. You say you're bigger than you are, but it's certainly prevalent. And so I normally have an adjustment factor of 10-20%. They're not that tall, and especially since I met a bunch of them. When I saw the Tyson win the heavyweight championship. I was in the second row, and behind me was Stallone and 3 or 4 other actors. And so when they're getting up and they're cheering, etc., like that, they kept telling me to sit down because I was too tall. They couldn't see the ring. And I thought it was kind of amusing. They couldn't see the ring. I didn't sit down. I didn't really give a fuck. But I used to lift weights back in my power days. I did bench press 395 because they forgot to put the collars on. But I never even got close. The closest I ever got to 395 was 370. I was in the zone that day, but I mean, other than busting blood vessels, I mean, I wasn't that strong ever again. But oh yeah. When I used to block. Well, at 287, I blocked out the sun when I walked in the door, and Sally kept saying was worried about my heart because I ate 5,000 to 7,000 calories a day, and I couldn't get over 287. I tried, and I always drank like a fish all my life, and so and then I started drinking in the morning. I think our Duncan, I think our friend here wants a drink. Oh, but so I've been around, when you can, you're that strong, arguably, but I mean, I know a lot of guys stronger than I ever was. I mean, fuck. But I was uncoordinated. So if I had been able to capture that strength with just the modicum, oh God, of coordination, I would have been dangerous. But I still remember Ranger School, we're on this 40-mile thing, and one of the guys, the Ranger said, "Peña, are you all right?" And he was an E7. Don't I look all right, sir? No, but I've been doing this a long time, Peña, and you don't look all right. Well, he was right. I I was fucking hurting. But that kind of stuff, as you well know, you don't say you're hurting. You dive in the mud. I almost drowned once because I was so exhausted in the Chattahoochee River near Fort Benning, Georgia. I collapsed face first, and if it wasn't for some drill instructor pulling me over, I'm sure I would have drowned. Because the level of exhaustion, you have no idea what it can be. The level of exhaustion is just, it's beyond your wildest comprehension. But questions of you kids? Yes, sir.
This might be like a general question.
Mike, please.
This might be like a more general question.
Okay,
I know
we'll
we've
make it.
talked about business in QLA. You see a lot of young faces here. We're headed.
Average age is 31, which is about 3 or 4 years younger than the average age of most seminars.
Absolutely. So we're more headed into life. I wouldn't say you're on the end of life, but you've seen a lot more than us. Is there any advice that you would give us? It could be about business or even about life in general.
Not dissimilar to the CEOs, the only easy day was yesterday. There's never an easy time to make a hard decision. In most of the decisions if you go forward positively, when you go forward, none of them are easy. None of them. There's no, and I realize that now even more after 30 years. Which is next week is my 30-year anniversary. It never gets easier. It never gets easier that, honey, your significant other, we're not a good match or a good fix, and I'm leaving you and 11 kids. There's never a good time. Never. When Josh Kim called his mom from the Washington airport, Mom, I'm glad it was the answering service because I didn't want you to cry, but I'm going to San Francisco to make my fortune. There's never. I say again, most of you are married or with your significant others for the wrong reasons. Most of you had kids for the wrong reasons. You were born for the wrong reasons. It's a bitch. If you want your life to be towards generational wealth, if you just want to have a job, a corporate job, some of you will exceed in corporate world and some of you won't. But regret's a bitch. And I've given 19 funerals, eulogies in the last 10 years. I'm a world-class eulogy giver. And every single one that was alive when I got to talk to them before they died said the same thing. It was the regrets they had of the things they didn't do. Here, 2-3 years ago, one of my best buddies, Walt, died of cancer. And he had a funeral, and she was going to be, his wife was going to be, before his wife, she died, she was going to be buried at sea. And 2 or 3 people gave eulogies, and then Sally said, don't you want to speak anything about Belinda? Now, coincidentally, 50 years before, her and her husband worked for me on Wall Street. And I said, no. And then Walt came up to me and says, Dan, why don't you say a few words? And I got up and I said, and I think I put this on YouTube, all the bullshit that everybody said about what a good woman Melinda Wojak was is a lie. That's not the woman I knew. The woman I knew was a hard bitch cunt that survived in sales in the steel business when women didn't sell steel in America. And her son, who's a West Point, that's the mother I was raised by. And I went on and on and on, and for about 19, 20 minutes. And then as we're walking out, we're going to go bury her at sea now. And 3 little old ladies came up to me, yanked my jacket and said, excuse me, can we have your details? And I looked at the 3 girls. I said, well, I haven't had a threesome in a long time. And I frankly, you're a little old for me. No, we want you to give the eulogy when we die. And Sally laughed. She's rolling over, And they're still alive, 3. And I kind of keep loose contact with them. And I was just closing my eyes. 3 wrinkly, old, sagging tits, sagging ass, gray hair, false teeth, False teeth are good for a blowjob, but I mean that's what we want. And I said, but nobody tells you the truth. Most eulogies are bullshit. And the one Dutch guy who sat across from me, at dinner, I've been wanting to talk like this all my life. Well, I have talked like this all my life. Where? Yeah, Darth, excuse me. And where are you and where am I? Even in my military, I moved off post. I did this. I did that. I locked the E9's heels when I shouldn't have. But I've gotten away with it. But I've always been willing to push the envelope and take the additional risk. And for those of you that looked at Dan Does Extreme like I told you to, I've done some crazy shit in my time. I should be dead. So I'm not dead. And whether it's the reward, exactly, thank you, or punishment, I brought a lot of kids across the goal line, and we created a lot of generational wealth. And all the other gurus don't talk about generational wealth because they haven't created it. And my product's free. I'm happy that you paid to be here, and some of you paid twice, but it's still all free. You saw Gabriel. I keep using Gabriel, who was here last year. I won't say he's brain dead because that would be unkind. But he's not Einstein either. He's not a child prodigy. Yeah. But I mean, he was able to do this. It's not that hard. We've had a couple active duty military, 3 actually, that have done deals while being deployed, supposedly saving our country from communism or whatever they are. It's not even a full-time job. Fuck. The lieutenant commander naval guy, I won't say he was guilty drawing his lieutenant commander pay and doing this. He should have been guilty, but he wasn't. And it's the way the military is now. I mean, that's not my fault. And I encourage the military guys. Maybe that's why I was privileged to give the exit day for 25 high-profile guys, and 3 gals, 2 gals. I think one of them might have been kind of in between, but it's not that fucking hard. It just isn't. It just isn't. And the 3 people that are back for the second time, I think would attest to the fact that they weren't able to do it the first time, but it's not that hard. It just isn't. I don't think any of the 3 would say that it was that hard. We have a very high rate of success for second time around. And I'm not selling the hardcore, but I mean, sometimes in the hardcore is we go through 32 cases, like B school cases, business school cases, and we split into 5 groups, 5 each, and you go through Columbia and Oxford and Harvard and that kind of thing. And some people need that, You don't need it, but some people do need that. And the hardcore is the extra incentive that you need. But at that end, at the other end, we have people that have not attended the seminar that are terrific. That's terrific. But it's all about self-esteem, self-confidence. And once you pull the trigger like our Honduras cheating lawyer. I mean, and I heard him speaking Spanish to the Cuban guy, and I don't know if he shared the truth in English as he did with you. He didn't say it was a piece of cake, but it's fucking easy. It's fucking easy. Yeah. Right? Yes, sir. I'm not lying. No, sir. You get it from a child. Well, to me, you're all children, so I mean, it's, we had some guys back in the 90s. Their goal was they wanted to cross swords with me. And that was kind of the mantra. And I cross-swords with 4 or 5 of them. Much to their chagrin, I left them all for dead. I had no mercy. And so we haven't had many say that they want to cross swords with me anymore, financially. Back in the 90s, I could have probably left them for dead physically. I'm not, I'm too slow now. But forget about crossing swords with me. You have to cross swords with yourself mentally that you want to do this. And it's just not that hard. Now, Sally's seen all these people for 25 plus years. And she's no better at picking guys and gals that are successful than I am. I told you, I pointed out at least, I think, 3 or 4 people during the seminar. I thought he was the one. None of them were. None of them. They had all the requisite, but none of them. I would have never picked the pig fucker. In my wildest dreams.
Secretly, is there anybody here that you won't share, but you think could potentially make it?
Oh, yeah. There's 4 or 5 of you that should be like Thomas and the old guy in his G5 with his son, the bald head. But that doesn't mean you're going to do it. For those of you that are married, I'm not wishing your wife's going to get cancer. Now, I'm not telling you that you should abandon your wife that gets cancer. I'm hard, but not that hard. Your 9-year-old daughter gets knocked up, and I've experienced this. I would have killed the fucking man. That's a whole other story. You knock up my 9-year-old daughter, you're a dead motherfucker. But we've had a guy, and his life was crushed. I mean, he never recovered. Just think about that. And we've had people, kidnapped, died of overdose, drugs, and shit like that. And the parents always blame themselves. What could I have done to prevent that? Now, the 9-year-old girl got knocked up. I would have never, ever let her go to Italy with 11 other girls with a 17-year-old chaperone.
How old was she?
No, she was 9. The chaperone was 17. What is he, brain dead? He just wanted her, well, this is my opinion. He wanted her out of the house so he could go fuck around. 17-year-old chaperone, 11 girls between 9 and 12. Are you brain dead? In Italy. And there's a lot of suave motherfuckers in Italy that would fuck a snake if he held his head still, just like I used to be. That father has never gotten over it. If there's anybody who should commit suicide, it's him. Now he's a wino drunk. I'd like to make him Dutch, but he's not. He's American. Better story if he's Dutch. Better story if he's Dutch. Or Cuban or some shit like that. But he's an American fucking swine. But now if you talk that way, you go to jail. I'm still sitting here. But I'm old school. And that's maybe why a lot of the ex-military or current military I get along with, because I say things you can't say anymore in the military.